Hey there, welcome to Mind Addiction. My name is Martin Rogers, and today we're going to be talking about happiness. Oh, it's such an old concept emotionally, and I'm sure we all have our general idea of how it works and say, am I happy? Am I not happy? But here's what we're going to do today to make this a little easier to understand. We're actually going to separate happiness into 4 subcategories. And we're going to look at each subcategory, and then we're going to see how you feel when you have a deficit in this category. Because the point is, yes, happiness is awesome, but it's more complex than you think. It's not quite as easy as just, yay, one simple experience or looking forward to something or something like that. So we're going to go into that today. And so let's start off with our first category. Our first category of happiness is going to be accomplishment. This is the type of happiness you feel when there is really something you've been trying to do. So usually it's got a high emotional content to what you wanted to do. This may be finally applying for a job, cleaning out your closet, recording a video for Mind Addiction that you should have done like a long time ago. So the point about this is that because there's a lot of high emotional content to the decision that leads to accomplishment, a lot of times we rationalize and we're afraid. There are usually negative emotions that go along with it, like fear, and there's a risk. So we say, you know what, I'm gonna put that off. And you may have rationalizations like, well, you know, I need to do this and this and this. Then I can do my big accomplishment. But here's the thing. When you have a deficit in this category, you feel like you haven't really done anything. And that's the point, is that whenever people mention, what have I even done this month? What have I done this year? How is it September already? What they're echoing is that deficit in the accomplishment category. In other words, you did a lot of things, but you didn't do the couple things that really you wanted to do that would have brought that sense of accomplishment and that happiness. And so that's the thing, is that it's usually going to be things that you see, that you know you should be doing, but for whatever reason you say, not right now. And so be very careful of that, because if you have a deficit in the accomplishment category, you're, again, no matter what you do, you didn't tackle the main things. So accomplishment is like Pareto principle for happiness. You accomplish just 20% of those things are going to lead to 80% of your happiness. Okay? So that's that category. All right, let's look at category number 2, and that's excitement. So what is this category of happiness all about? Basically, this is the kind of category when you've got something that you're really anticipating. This could be a trip to a theme park. It could be a cruise you're taking. It could be a movie coming out. It really doesn't matter. But the point is, where this category of happiness kicks in is in those anticipatory feelings that you have right before the event's gonna happen. So in other words, you have something to look forward to. You say, oh man, in a couple weeks, I'm gonna be on the beach. Everything's gonna be cool. Maybe a little Corona or Jack. So this is the kind of feelings that are associated with that category. Now here's the problem. When you have a deficit in that category, you feel flat emotionally. You feel like every day's the same. You know, this is common among adults because when you're a kid, you have all these things that break up that you can be excited about. Oh, I can't wait till summer break. Oh, Christmas vacation, it's gonna be awesome. But as an adult, when you're just working day after day after day, you can have that flat feeling. So if you're feeling that, then you need to plan a trip. You need to plan a movie, something you're going to be excited about, and set that on the horizon. And then when you think about it, there's nothing wrong with thinking about something you're looking forward to. And then you'll engage those emotions for the excited category of happiness. All right, let's get to a category now, category number 3, that I am pretty sure would be everyone's favorite category. So this subcategory of happiness is all related to distraction. And here's the thing. Throughout our day, we feel a complex interaction of different emotions. You have positive ones, you have negative ones, and the thing is, it's hard to hone in on certain emotions. This category of happiness happens when you are totally engrossed in something. So this could be just watching a movie. You start a movie, it's a great movie. You know, and by the time the credits roll, you're just like, huh, that was really, really awesome. And you're just like, what time is it? Geez, that movie just flew by. So that kind of total immersion in something is how you engage that category of happiness. And so here's the thing. If you have a deficit in this category, you're not gonna feel flat like with the excited category. You're gonna feel more agitated, because the point is, if you haven't fully let yourself just be absolutely consumed by an activity that engages this category, you will always have hanging on you those negative emotions, and there'll be no counterbalance. It's almost like being awake for too long. Like you need sleep. The same restless feeling you have when you're overtired and you're just like, oh my God, I just need to go to sleep. I can't handle this anymore. That's how you feel, but the negative emotion for this category. So it's like the reverse of that. So if you're feeling not flat or bored unhappy, but agitated unhappy, then you need some distraction. Now, here's the caveat, is that most people don't need too much of this category, okay? This is what I like to call the candy bar of happiness categories. So you basically need to have it here and there, sparingly, like candy bars, but you can't be doing it all the time. And here's a great example of that. One way that people like to engage this emotion in this category is through drugs and alcohol. Can you do it? Yeah, you can. But just like you shouldn't eat candy bars every day, you cannot engage this category of happiness on a long-term basis every day. It's enticing, you want to do it, but you can't. So you have to counterbalance this. So a deficit for this is more for workaholics and people who are so consumed by something that they can't take a break. And they just are like, oh, I don't know the last time I took a vacation. If you know that person, or you are that person, that's when you need distracted category of happiness, and you need to fulfill that. But be very careful, because again, just like someone who's very rigorous about a diet, and you can be like, hey dude, you can have a candy bar, that's fine. That's the kind of way you approach this. So if you are super rigorous, take care of this deficit if you have it. But for most of us, we find ways to be distracted, so it's not a big deal, okay? So that's the most fun, but also smallest category of happiness that you need to fulfill. Let's look at our last one. So our last category of happiness is actually the most complex, because it is the category of happiness called contentment. And what makes it so complex? The thing that makes this category so difficult to kind of pinpoint and get at is because it's made up of all these little activities. And they may be activities that you enjoy doing, and then there are activities that you're like, I'm not so thrilled about that. If you have activities, and throughout your day, this can be at your job, your general home life, everything. If those activities are up here, and the things you don't like to do are about here, that's good. And what will happen is that gives you this general sense of contentment. And here's the thing. This happens when someone asks you, hey, you've been a lot happier lately. And you take a beat and you go, yeah, I guess I have. Now, you're not remembering all those little activities that led up to that sense. You're just doing like an emotional gut check, like, man, you know what? I am happier. But that's the point. That's what it's composed of. And now, deficit in this category is what I consider the most dangerous kind of deficit. And here's why. Because you can't tease apart just what those negative activities or emotions are. Usually, it's difficult for people to do this. So, when they try to remedy this deficit, they take what I call the chemotherapy approach. So it's the good goes out with the bad. When people go, I don't know, I just need to change things up, man. I think I'm gonna move to Arizona and start a cactus farm. What? What'd you say? Yeah, when people start making decisions like that, that's them reacting to a deficit in that contentment category of happiness. It means that they can't parse out exactly what's wrong, but they know they're not happy. So they just say, I'm just gonna make a major change. They leave a job, they leave a relationship. Anytime someone is just like hacking out large parts of their life or changing them, that's their reaction to this. And the point is, they can't determine what's bad and what's good, so they just say, if I make a change of everything, I'm sure it'll turn out okay. So that's mainly why this is the most dangerous deficit to have, I feel, because the reaction to it by people who aren't sure how to approach it is usually very life-changing. So that's basically the categories of happiness and how you feel when you have a deficit in them. Now, for most of them, it's pretty straightforward on how to solve that. Some categories are maybe slightly more tricky, like our last one. So, in the future, what we're gonna do here next time is look at the ways to remedy each of these. But a good thing now, start thinking about it. Start thinking about, do I have any deficits? Take stock. Pay attention to your day-to-day and look at, did you have any of the feelings that I mentioned? And now you'll be able to identify those to more specific categories of happiness. And that should help. So get addicted to your mind, man. Take a look. See what it is. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.